Terrifying triple homicide, family secrets, and unimaginable savagery. Introducing Nan Buchanan, a 16-year-old who is charged with an inexplicable offense. Come celebrate, it's unexplainable. A gripping true crime documentary, the heartbreaking case of the Buchanan family, will captivate you from the outset. Get ready for a tale that will push the limits of understanding. This is a story you will not soon forget. 16-year-old Nan Buchanan's dreams behind bars are still plagued by his younger brother's cries for compassion every night. After what looked like a picture-perfect weekend spent at a remote cottage as part of a family getaway, Nan committed an unimaginable act of violence that eliminated his whole family line. This is the terrifying real-life account of abuse, treachery, and vicious triple homicide that caused an otherwise typical adolescent to over the line and commit savage murder. One evening in September. Stay on until the very end as we unravel the mystery of the deaths of a devoted father, a loving stepmother, and an innocent kid in a horrific massacre that defies comprehension, starting with potential motives and murder weapons and concluding with dramatic confessions from the courts. After seeing what transpired within the Buchanan family inside that lone cabin in the woods, you will never look at family bonding visits to the great outdoors the same way again. On September 14, 2015, 16-year-old Nan Buchanan woke up feeling like she was on top of the world on just another Monday morning. He'd gone to church, hung out with friends, and finished the evening with a romantic meal while Nan stretched, all with his girlfriend and her family. He turned to face his bedroom window. He felt liberated, successful, and prepared to face any challenge. Ultimately, it was rumored that he would shortly inherit Buchanan Construction, his father's construction company. His father had led the family business into bankruptcy, so Nan had grandiose plans for how he would manage it better. He already had images of expensive cars, a large mansion, and money dancing in his head. However, Nolan's hopes for a prosperous and exciting future came crashing down suddenly that morning when the cops came up at his high school and took him into custody in front of all of his peers. He was taken to the South Lake Tahoe Juvenile Treatment Center and detained there until June 13, 2018, on suspicion of killing his younger brother and father's stepmother. Nobody could accept that he was capable of killing members of his own family. However, the evidence found at the scene painted a terrifying picture that was hard to ignore. Specifics of the offense on Sunday, September 13th, early in the morning, the horror started. A somber discovery was found by firefighters assessing the damage: scorched human remains. It was first thought to be a terrible accident, with the possibility that someone had become trapped in the fire and was unable to flee the flaming building. However, the next day, when searching through the debris of the once small cabin, the county coroner discovered a human skull with a noticeable bullet hole in the temple. Information suggested that the victim had been shot close to the body, proving that the death was a homicide. Adam Buchanan was the owner of the vehicle and trailer that were parked outside the damaged cabin. More research indicated that Buchanan was the owner of a financially troubled construction company located in Bonita, California, around 160 miles southwest. To inform the family of the remains and ascertain whether Buchanan or any of his relatives had visited the Capitol Hap, investigators were sent. Nan, the 16-year-old son of Adam Buchanan, welcomed the deputies when they arrived at their residence, who revealed that together with Nan's 8-year-old half-brother Gavin, his father had spent the weekend in the Greenwood cabin with Molly, Nan's stepmother. It was past time for the family to come back and tell the cops that they might have been the shooting victims who were charred beyond recognition inside the ruins. Every piece of evidence from the fire site was meticulously gathered by forensic teams over several days as they combed through debris. Before the fire, both of the victims from the other two sets of remains had been shot. All the bullet pieces were recovered. No weapons were discovered on the property. In the absence of the Buchanan family to identify and verify the homicide, suspicion fell on Adam's teenage son Nolan, who became a crucial person of interest. Since Adams was Kent's heir apparent and the only member of the family to remain behind during their sad last journey, Nan was the only one who knew their whereabouts and plans. His claims, which would have given detectives crucial early hints, now presented a largely straightforward account of his family's Friday night trip up to the cabin in an ancient Dodge pickup, pulling a trailer full of landscaping stones. The group asserted that he watched their dog and worked around the house while he was at home in Bonita. However, gaps and discrepancies in his story quickly sparked suspicions. Adam Buchanan was seen by surveillance cameras from the family's residence hooking a rock-filled trailer to his white Ford F-150 pickup truck, not the Dodge Nan portrayed. Later, video evidence would show Nan's presence entering and exiting the Ford. Furthermore, when the police came to interrogate Nan, the Ford pickup was still parked in the driveway at the Bonita residence. Astute investigators saw that the vehicle's wheels and undercarriage were covered in a reddish-brown substance that matched the soil surrounding the Greenwood crime scene, suggesting that the vehicle had been driven to the scene of the fire. Given the concrete evidence that now refuted his initial account, police started to examine Nan's statements more closely. It appeared that he was lying about how the family got to the isolated cottage where they perished, and additional research would turn up more gaps in the teenager's stories, ultimately putting him in the exact location of the horrifying incident. Further examination of Adam and Molly Buchanan's lives through investigation and arrest revealed a volatile, very dysfunctional family. She verified that Molly had gone on several occasions, dropping young Gavin off with Susie until the hostilities subsided and the cycle again. Given this background, investigators first conjectured a murder-suicide case in which a dispute in the seclusion of the cabin resulted in death, causing one spouse to lose it and shoot their family before killing themselves. This would make sense given their turbulent past and explain the discovery of 3 individuals shot to death amid suspicious fire damage. However, a domestic murder-suicide seemed improbable after looking at the tangible evidence. The absence of weapons suggested that the murder weapon had been taken out of the hands of the perpetrator after the killings. Investigating probable outside sources as Sallant, with personal grudges against Buchanan, became the focus of the team's efforts. Adam Buchanan's construction business was in dire straits, with over $30,000 in debt, necessitating recent layoffs that incited animosity among irate ex-employees. Investigators wondered if someone with a connection to the company had come looking for retribution. 6 days after the grim discovery, the case took a significant turn. When a group of neighborhood high school kids taking part in a weekend community cleanup effort discovered a grisly assortment of objects dumped at a business park within 1 mile from Buchanan Construction's corporate offices. Molly Buchanan's IDs and credit cards were found in a woman's purse. A .22 caliber rifle was later identified by matching shot casings. Beneath some bushes is a Ruger 10/22 semi-automatic gun. This unsettling discovery demonstrated that the person who killed the Buchanan family had taken important evidence 160 miles back to their hometown and had made an ineffective attempt to hide their involvement. Most likely, the individual was a Bonita local and had some sort of relationship with the family. Submitting financial documents and security footage, detectives quickly pieced together the last days of the Buchanan family. A devastating timeline of Friday, 9/11 at 2:30 p.m. was drawn by Adam Buchanan's credit and debit card activities. The fact that Adam's card was used to pay for a trip through the Valen Taco Bell drive-thru refutes the story that he stayed at home with his family while they went to the cabin. The payment for 4 dinners in total, not just for his parents, was shown on the bank statement. At 10:47 p.m. on Friday, Adam Buchanan's white Ford F-150 is seen on traffic cameras, traveling north on the I-5 toward the cabin. The identical Ford is seen traveling southbound on the I-5 at 1:53 a.m. with an unnamed driver. That weekend, someone in Bonita paid for food, petrol, shopping, and other expenses on Adam's credit card. However, bank records verify that Adam's wallet included just 1 active card. The last straw for deceit came from surveillance footage from Buchanan Construction. Adam can be seen plainly on cameras positioned above the parking lot, late Friday afternoon, loading up his Ford pickup and securing the trailer to haul's landscaping equipment. When Nan's white pickup truck, which isn't an old Dodge as he had stated, leaves the property on its way to the fateful journey, he is met with a mountain of evidence that refutes everything he has said. Although his father's assertion appeared implausible, Adam claimed to be the true shooter, killing the family before turning the gun on Nan. Nan claims he inadvertently shot his father after he grabbed the weapon to defend himself. Nan said that it was self-defense, adding that he panicked and covered it up by setting the house on fire. Adam's attorneys persisted in drawing the jury's attention to his prior abuse of Nan and other people. The medical examiner, however, was unconvinced. The bullet hole in Gavin, Nan's brother, appeared to have been fired at a 90 degrees angle, which is inconsistent with Nan's account. Nan stated that after hearing shouting and hearing someone enter and shoot Gavin, he and Gavin were awakened. However, the bullet's angle would therefore be closer to 45 degrees. Once the prosecution realized that the evidence didn't line up, they concluded that Nan had shot Gavin when the boy and his parents were out at a pub. Upon her return, Nan also shot them, first Adam and then his stepmother Molly. During the trial, Nan's defense centered on the verbal and physical abuse he suffered in an attempt to win over the jury. He seized his father's rifle, doused the victims in gasoline, burned the home on fire, and traveled to his girlfriend's house to establish an alibi conviction. They said that Nan killed his brother Gavin because he did not want him to end up like him. However, Nan's premeditation was revealed by the prosecution. The victim's lack of protective wounds refuted any gunfight or struggle. Mullen executed his father Adam first to prevent him from retaliating against Nolan after Nolan killed Molly. After just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury found Nolan guilty on 3 charges of first-degree murder. While considering Nan's mental trauma at sentencing, the judge also noted the planning and brutality involved in eradicating his entire family. The judge ultimately decided to throw the book at 16-year-old Nan because of the extreme savagery and premeditation that went into all 3 murders and complex attempts at cover-up. She gave him the greatest punishment that could be meted out to an adult after considering his past trauma. Deputies tie a screaming, emotional Nan back into jail, promising her vengeance for the injustice, and sentence her to 150 years in prison, without the prospect of parole for the first 25 years. After that, the possibility of release could be reconsidered based on her behavior. His pale-faced grandparents' cheeks were wet with silent tears as the eerily quiet courtroom cleared out. 3 generations perished in a vortex of horrifying violence that was created by the flaming embers of resentment and fury accumulated over many years of suffering. At the very abuse, he now faced punishment for pushing this tortured teen to the brink. Or was there a crafty sociopath hiding beneath the victimization mask, deceiving even the most skilled mental health professionals into thinking that his mind snapping off was real? The families affected by this experience are still plagued by those questions. Their sorrow is inextricably linked to the terrifying recollection of what transpired inside that cabin. Judge Kingsbury assured Nan during the sentence hearing that if he followed the guidelines and did well in prison, he would eventually have the opportunity to be released. His case would be examined in 25 years to see if he truly demonstrates rehabilitation and regret worthy of a second opportunity under supervision. Nan is also subject to enormous financial responsibility due to wrongful death lawsuits filed by the families of his victims. Although the exact number of verdicts against him is yet unknown, it will undoubtedly be in the millions. The 16-year-old is currently doing his term behind bars while maintaining his innocence. He continues to hold his violent father responsible for putting him in a situation where he thought murder was the only way out. However, the prosecution is certain that they found a cold-blooded, well-planned killer who was well aware of his actions. Due to poor management, Adam Buchanan's construction company was already in danger of going bankrupt, and the news of the gruesome killing effectively ended the recession. The family's investment properties defaulted, and staff lost their jobs. Ironically, Buchanan Construction's affairs were wound down by the bankruptcy court precisely as Nan had anticipated he would take over and restore the business to greatness eventually. As the terrible story of the Buchanan family comes to an end, don't miss out on more compelling real crime tales. Get unique material by subscribing now, and don't forget to check back for our next terrifying dive into the murky recesses of human psychology. If you subscribe, you'll never miss a story that will make you wonder about the darkness inside of you. Your curiosity is piqued by True Crime Unveiled.